Fuck it, we'll do it live.
You can do other ones.
Do I do it into the video? Do I do it into my camera?
Yes.
And you have to do it into your camera. Okay. Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we talk about all sorts of geeky things. Sometimes our knowledge is excellent and sometimes it's a little bit
incomplete.
This is my co-host John. I am Nick. We are two Borg queens ready to dive into the Delta Quadrant of geekness as we talk about Star Trek Voyager.
I love it. Good. I like it. Good.
It wasn't original, but I was going to do a wormhole thing, but they didn't have a wormhole. That was DS9.
There were wormholes.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a plot point. That was DS9, right? They had the wormhole.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, wormholes.
I don't watch that.
Wormholes are like a staple in any kind of science fiction show.
I know, they had it. So, we are talking about... I'm not going to look at the camera the whole time. I'm going to look at you.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. We're trying a video thing, which may or may not end up on YouTube, depending on how well this goes.
It'll be cut.
But we are talking... Voyager is... We talked about it before in our Star Trek episode. Mm-hmm. It is my personal favorite series. Yeah. So we're not going to do the whole series. I'm currently doing a rewatch, and I'm just about got to the end of season 3, which is the famous point, because that's where we get a cast change. So we're going to do a halfway home review now, talking about the first 3 seasons.
Which is perfect.
Different. It's very different, I feel.
Oh, yeah. It changes a lot.
However, it's been a long time since I've rewatched them properly, so I don't know if I remember as much detail about seasons 4 to 7 as I do. Because there's lots of episodes that I hadn't seen doing the rewatch.
Oh, really?
1 to 3. And I'm like, what the fuck happened here?
Well, that's good, because the first question I'm going to give you is like what your background is with watching it. But just give a bit of context as well, because we're just going to talk about the first 3 seasons. I still haven't watched the entire show yet.
Yes.
So I
can't spoil it for you, because we're not going to talk about season 3.
This is perfect, because in my course of watching it for the first time, which I started, to be honest, 3-4 years ago, I'm still only about halfway through season 5. So I've definitely seen the first 3 recently, and then we can't spoil anything. Although famously one time I said to you, I assume they make it home, and you just like zipped right up. You're like, I'm not going to say anything, which is fine, because I know very little about everything. I know it is like it's an old show, but I'm experiencing it for the first time. And one thing I'm really excited about this episode for is because this is kind of what made us start the podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Was talking about Voyager, because I had just started watching it, and we were talking about Star Trek or whatever we were talking about, and we were just discussing Voyager because it's your favorite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was that Buddha Chang tea?
Well, yes, yeah. We had some Buddha Chang tea at my local cafe, and it just went from there. So yeah. So Nicholas, how did you get into Star Trek? I never watched it as a kid. I know that kind of Deep Space Nine kind of overlaps a bit with Next Generation, which is what I was told to watch right away. Didn't it? Wasn't there like 2 years that it overlapped a little bit?
I thought it overlapped just with Voyager.
It definitely overlaps a lot with Voyager, because they were concurrent
at the same time
for a long time. I thought it was like 1 or 2 years after Deep Space Nine was released.
You have the wiki open. We could have found out. But irregardless.
Let's have a look. It started after Next Generation finished.
I think it did, because there's a fun fact in here about Michael Dorn. So we'll get onto that. Mm-hmm. We're going to do some fun facts. I started because I saw Next Gen was on TV, and then I remember the hype. Again, we've talked about this in our first episode, but I remember the hype when they were talking about it and promoting that this new show is going to come out. And the big fucking deal in the 90s, because it blew everyone's mind.
A female captain? Oh my gosh.
Good God, that's not possible.
You can't do that.
So it was a lot of talk and hype and stuff about that, and how they're like, we'll just have a female doctor rather than a female captain. But they're like, no, we need a female captain. Thank God they did. And one of the best ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of those things. So it was one of the few things where we watched it, not on TV, we had to get it on VHS. Mm-hmm. The first episodes when they came out, and we watched Gatekeeper when it came out, and then had to try and keep...
Gatekeeper.
Caretaker.
I won!
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, caretaker, Ocampa.
Don't know what any of those words mean.
Oh, I don't know. I was just trying to say. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. And so, yeah, it was out, and I grew up in the Middle East, so it was like trying to get it on VHS whenever we would come back here. So we watched a few episodes here and there. So we got the first 2, and then I think 3 and 4 were the ones we got afterwards.
Episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah, literally
Okay.
episodes 3 and 4, which are great episodes. Bits and bobs, and then I remember Scorpion, part 1 and 2, being on a double VHS.
Which is the end of season
Which is
3.
what we're going to watch.
Yeah,
after
live
this.
viewing. So it's like one great long episode we're going to split into 2 parts.
Yeah,
That's what we're going to
because
do.
like, we can't get enough of Voyager.
Just to clear it up,
Go.
Next Generation Enished,
Finished.
which is a combination of ended and finished,
Right.
for you, those of you listening. It ended in 94, May of 94, but Deep Space Nine started in January of 93. So there was just over
Okay.
a year overlap. But then, of course, Star Trek Voyager started in 95.
5.
January.
Oh,
Which is
the
odd because
90s.
January in America when TV
January?
yeah, it's half
It's
season.
like a mid-season.
Yeah,
Oh.
mid-season. So whatever show got kicked off, it was like, because the first season was only like 16 episodes or so. I mean, I've got it here
Yeah.
again.
Just like Buffy. Buffy was a mid-season replacement.
That's
wasn't
right.
she?
Yeah, it was 16 episodes, and then every season after that was 26, which is a lot, even for American standards.
It is, and a lot of the time we get some real shit episodes when you have to do 26 episodes a season. But
It's a lot of work.
so much. I can't imagine how the writers did it. I can't imagine how the crew and the
It's like a
cast
conveyor
did
belt,
it.
isn't it?
It boggles my mind. Like, I've watched quite a lot of Kate Mulgrew interviews and stuff, and she's like how it was just ruined her life, but obviously made her life. Like, she's got lots of regrets that her children didn't speak to her for years because she just was never there.
Yeah.
She was a single mum and she had to just leave them. You know, they were doing 14-hour days
Yeah.
every day and that sort of stuff. And so she's like, I have a lot of regrets about that because I missed 7 years of them growing up.
Yeah.
But here's your
yeah.
here's Rent and here's so it
Always
was
be remembered for that. at least.
grueling compared to nowadays. However, having to fill that much space did come up with, I think, necessitated creativity and made them come up with
Some batshit
this.
stuff, you mean?
Let's do this batshit thing.
Yeah.
And you had to kind of fill the episodes with stuff. And I think maybe that was a good thing sometimes. You know, now the new series is 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So your expectations are also like these all. If one is a filler, you're like,
Yeah. You're like, why does this exist? But the thing is, like, that was TV back in the day,
I
back in the
know,
90s.
yeah.
And before we had, like, streaming services, we could buy, like, DVD. This is before DVD. So, like, before we
This
had
is
DVD
VHS,
box
baby.
sets. Yeah,
Oh,
you could
yeah.
buy VHS stuff. So it wasn't easy to watch an episode that you missed. So it was really unlikely to have a TV show where you had to watch every episode,
Yeah.
otherwise you'd miss some of the stories, which is why a lot of the Next Generation episodes and a lot of the, I'm assuming Deep Space Nine and like Voyager, there's a lot of it that's just like a self-contained episode where if you miss it, you're not.
You missed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm seeing that doing a proper week.
X-Files.
Proper
Yeah.
rewatch.
Does it a lot, where there's like just a different thing every week and it goes back to normal. That's kind of the standard. But nowadays, because you don't want to be working people for 18 for like 8 months out of the year, you can do shorter stuff and also create a story a through line where you can go on Netflix or whatever and just watch every episode. And also, I will say part of the reason I probably didn't watch it is because the producers actually used this show and Deep Space Nine to promote a new channel.
UPN?
UPN. And growing up in the Midwest,
You didn't get UPN?
I didn't really get UPN. I don't even know what it was. And I remember growing up and like cable was like the big thing. Like, oh, we get Nickelodeon now, you know. But that was like a premium, you know. And I do remember when I was even younger, we only had literally 3 channels.
Yeah.
It was just rural, basically. So that could be a big reason why I didn't watch any of this stuff. I think both of those shows were on UPN growing up.
Probably.
You watched it a long time ago, but you didn't watch every episode. You're
No,
now
I missed a lot 'cause
rewatching it.
I moved to the UK during it, and I think the finale 2001 would have
Yes,
finished.
that's correct. May of
Was
2001.
my first year at university, and I remember it was on TV channel. I don't know what channel it was on, and I set up my VCR to record
Yeah.
it whilst I was out getting drunk.
Did you have like a little timer on the VCR as well?
I probably, yeah.
Start timing at 3 minutes before the change of the
when
hour.
It starts and finishes, you have to start it before and check and make sure, like, is your
Yes.
clock the same as that clock? Because if it's
Yeah.
fucked up there,
And if you timed it, like if you started recording bang on 7 p.m., you're gonna miss like the first 30 seconds.
yeah, it can't. You always had to have that extra minute of ads and stuff.
I recorded a number of X-Files episodes that exact way.
God, it was it's not a fun fact, but like, you know, ad breaks and that sort of stuff, you can fast forward and that sort of thing through. We didn't really have ad breaks in Bahrain. We didn't have any ad breaks. They didn't, because we had
Fun.
2.5 channels, 2 Saudi channels and a Bahraini one, so they weren't really ads that I remember, but there were prayer intermissions because it's the call to prayer. So if it's on at one of the 5 call to prayers,
Yeah.
everything has to stop.
Right.
And depending on which channel you're watching it on,
Yeah.
I remember this. So if it's on Bahrain 55, the local one,
Yeah.
it stops prayer time, prayer intermission. He'll do his thing. I won't do it because no, it's
You mean like the I was like the priest, but like there's the lector, whatever the word is.
whatever, the guy up in the thing. He'll
Sorry,
do the
my
little
friends.
call, and they'll do a little verse in Arabic, and then they'll have the English up. Done. On your way.
Back to the regular programming.
Like a few minutes long, and you're like, that's fine. If you're watching it on Saudi, channel 33 or Saudi 2, we get the whole thing. Like it would just stop. You don't hear anything. It just stops and says, prayer time. And it would just stop, and you have to wait. It's like, I can't remember how long it would be, but you're like, yeah.
Oh, like you fast forwarded it through it.
If you record it, but also that
yeah.
adds about 7 to 12 minutes onto your recording, so it doesn't tell you that there's a prayer time in, so you have to make sure you add extra time at the end so it doesn't cut it off, and so many times they cut it off. Yeah.
Crazy.
So
That's programming for you back in the
good
day.
times, great memories. So yes, Star Trek Voyager. I finished when I was in uni, and I watched the final episode then, but I'd missed so many of... There's going to be so many in 6 and 7 I've never seen. I have no idea.
Really?
I had no idea. Oh, okay, I can't say because
I haven't seen any of those yet. You can't say anything.
Like, this didn't happen. I can't believe that happened. I had to find out about that later because this was also before the internet.
Yeah. Every time I look, I'm like, I wonder what episode I'm on. Is it that one? Like, oh, that happens in the future. Okay, don't look at that.
Look at that. The time traveling ones.
Question. So did you watch like the Star Trek? I know it's the Next Generation crew, but did you watch the films as well?
Yeah, man.
Have you seen all those?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like crossover with Voyager.
There's one tiny brief moment in...
Oh, with the Doctor?
Oh, no, not that
The Doctor shows up briefly in one of the episodes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was in First Contact, but
Right.
she's also in
One of them.
Probably...
I don't know.
Have you watched all of them? The Next Generation films?
I don't remember how many. No, I wouldn't remember any of them.
Probably Nemesis.
I'm not-
I love Nemesis because of skinny Tom Hardy.
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
I was like, who is this English boy
Yeah.
with weird teeth?
Yeah.
And he's so hot.
Yeah.
And then he disappeared from the world for like 8 years. And
Which
then came
one
back.
of this?
Giant
Nemesis?
buff.
Making a note.
Oh, it was really good. I like Nemesis. Everyone hated Nemesis. It was the last one. I think she's in that one. Spoiler.
I could probably say
20 years ago.
I haven't seen any of them. Like, I haven't sat down to watch the full length of any one of those films. But I'm sure, like, being at my grandparents' house, it'd be on once in a while, you know. And I do know that the Borg Queen is introduced in Voyager at some point. I think. Yes. Right.
We're doing seasons 1 to 3.
But that's only crossover. I'm just saying.
That's it.
Okay.
Didn't do my Geekery of the Weekery. Is it too late to do it?
Do it now. Who cares? Just do it now. Like,
Is it too late to start? So, before we go into our deep dive, spare me a moment for a little Geekery of the Weekery.
Previously on X-Men.
Geekery of the Weekery.
Which I don't have an animation for, so I don't know
Oh, exactly.
what I'm going to do on the video.
would you be dancing? Give the
Geekery of the Weekery. It's on
Sound
there somewhere.
effect?
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
next time.
And I think you know what I want to talk about.
Is it by chance the musical episode of Strange New World?
So in the last Geekery of the Weekery, I talked about a Strange New Worlds episode.
Yeah.
There was another episode in between, which was dull as shit, but whatever. The most recent one was the musical episode, Subspace... I'm sorry.
The title of the show is...
Subspace Rhapsody.
Title of the episode is Subspace Rhapsody.
So, I will say...
This is all you.
Some fucking amazing voices. Like, I knew Uhura was going to... It's like, you're going to be shit hot. You're going to be an amazing singer. And her song wasn't until, like, really towards the end. I'm like, maybe she's not shit. Oh, there you go. Fucking incredible. I knew on... Have you not watched any of these?
Nope.
Oh, well, this isn't fun for you.
No, I love watching you doing it.
And the other one is a singer. She's got, like, an album out or something like that. So some great voices. Ethan Sexy Peck. Oh, sexy voice.
Ethan Sexy... Oh, the
Spock.
Vulcan.
Yeah.
Spock, yeah.
Sexy voice. Fun. My question to you and to you is, did we need it? Did we need a musical episode?
I don't know.
Did we need another... Because I should have researched this before. How many shows have tried to do a musical episode since Buffy did it?
Buffy was like... Anything that Buffy does, everything that's really
We're Buffy fans.
hits. Buffy did it so well because it incorporated the story.
Thank you. That's exactly the point I was just about to make. Is like, what was the point? There was so much character development for Buffy, and everyone. Huge things were revealed, and it was so raw and wonderful.
Season, yeah.
Every time someone's in a musical episode, it's because that one's a really good singer. Let's have them sing so they can promote their album. Grey's Anatomy.
Missed that one. Sorry.
It was because it was just Callie and Owen singing because they're stage actors. Wonderful singing voice, but why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Scrubs did one as well.
Okay.
Again, I didn't see it because I didn't really watch Scrubs, but I knew
So
they did one.
you keep going. I'm going to look up this list of musical episode TV shows.
And, I mean, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, they just spent all their time singing because they all just wanted to be singers and just wanted to have albums and shit like that. So that was another one. What has you got?
There's a big list. The Flash did one apparently.
Oh my god, yes! That's because Jeremy Jordan was in it, and that's when I realized he's an amazing singer. So hot. Went to see him live in Chelsea. So much fun. Middle-aged women like wetting themselves with excitement. He was so like...
Okay. Don't know who that is.
Turned on. Jeremy Jordan.
Jeremy Jordan.
Not Jeremy Jordan from the 90s. Jeremy Jordan now. So hot. Sensational singer. His video of him singing the Celine Dion song went viral, and that's why he's in it. Anyway.
Apparently there is a Father Ted one.
I don't know.
There's a Star Trek Voyager one apparently.
I think I know because there's some clips. It's just basically the Doctor singing because he always fucking sings opera. We'll get into my feelings on the Doctor soon.
Yeah, but
you could tell.
Oh, okay.
You could tell from my tone of voice and the look on my face if you're watching. My feelings on the Doctor. But let's carry on.
We'll get there. There's a Schitt's Creek episode. There's an X-Files episode that does it.
Schitt's Creek episode? No, there's...
Yeah, but if you say a musical episode...
Well, there's a musical in it. I suppose it's the same thing. It's an excuse to show that Patrick's a singer so he can sell albums. It's the same thing when they did all of that stuff. Yeah, who else?
X-Files from season 9, which I don't think I've seen every episode of season 9, but...
I'll watch that, probably. No. What else? Anyone else?
Deep Space Nine, Simpsons, South Park, and Fringe. I don't remember that.
I thought there'd be more...
Oh, there's loads, but those are the ones where it has like the name of the TV show in. I'm just on Wikipedia, like on TV show in brackets, and other ones that are just like musical TV shows. Like
like Glee would be like.
Oh yeah.
I can't get into that.
Like I'll just have a look at a Futurama special episode kind of thing.
Yeah, Futurama. Should have talked about Futurama too.
Yeah, we should.
We are. There's a new series. Anyway, we'll get into it. One Geeker of the Weekery at a time. Yeah, so, like, I understand why you want to do it.
The Fringe episode. We should do an episode of Fringe.
It's on the list. You're going to do that one because I've never seen that.
I've seen it all.
Because the woman in the poster has a fringe, right?
What?
Like, the main actress has a fringe in the show. Fringe.
Does she? Maybe.
Like, is there an alternate universe one? Like, one has a fringe and one doesn't.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really pay that much attention, but we call them bangs in America.
Over here, we call them fringe. Anyway. Yeah, so...
Musical episodes.
It was fine, but it was literally just... Nothing, because, like, she just went into a room and sang. makes no sense.
Don't spoil anything if it matters to the plot or whatever. But like you know how in Buffy, like there's a reason they're singing. There's a reason that it's like a demon sort of.
Yeah, they always each show that I remember has to have a reason why it's suddenly breaking out into song.
Is the reason good?
Subspace frequency. They send music into it, and it's a probability field that. Like I know Star Trek is a soft
bit of
sci-fi
mumbo jumbo. So
this is too much. This is so because it's cute because like they try and close it and it makes it worse, and then the Klingons get involved in it, and at one point for the final number, like they do a K-pop rap in it. The Klingons are like a K-pop band, so
because Klingons start with the letter K.
Exactly, Klingon pop band. It's cute, it's fun, it's silly. I just don't think we needed it. I think it could have been like a Christmas musical special if you wanted to do it. But it feels forced to keep... It's like it wasn't like, they tried to make it as like, oh, people are singing their deepest feelings. And it was just about like, oh, this guy... It's not about, I was dead, I was in heaven. Wasn't any of these huge, big character shifts. Tara, that you realize she'd be manipulated, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't anything.
And you realize that she might not actually be in love with Xander.
Giles realizing he has to leave. All of these were huge shifts, and it was just like some shit. It wasn't. I didn't think it was necessary. Lovely voices. Oh my god, Ethan Peck is so hot. I'm so into Ethan Peck at the moment right now.
That just goes to show how quality the Buffy show was, because the characters had such a good sort of. They were so well developed and had such good stories by themselves.
Did anyone do it before Buffy?
Probably,
right? Especially olden days, like they loved to sing on those kind of shows, didn't they?
I know, but like you had
not a whole episode, but like they would have had songs.
Carol Burnett, she was sure sang the end of it.
I love Carol Burnett. Is she still alive? Carol Burnett is.
I think so.
Yeah.
We
would have heard about that.
I don't remember.
Someone would have texted me.
Anyway.
So anyway, that was I feel it's important. Not everyone. One person's messaged me asking me about two actually. What you think about it, and like, it's like, fine. No one was awful. No one was Alison Hannigan, Mrs. Brendan. Like, don't give them a line, don't give them a line, don't give them a line. Weird, they gave Rebecca Romijn like 2 full solo songs, and she was like the weakest singer. It was weird. Who was that for?
I don't know. She's arguably like the biggest star on that show, isn't she?
She's like third in... Oh no, she's at the end. I think she's the and. Anson didn't sing much.
Really?
He got a little bit. He could sing, but like that was his range. Kind of talky, singy thing. So he clearly is like, don't make me do it. Don't make me do too much. Whereas the others are like, got an album coming out in September 15.
Wink to the camera.
So
dear listener, if you know of a musical episode, there's loads that we haven't mentioned.
Tell us your favorite ones and the ones that you hated the most that seemed forced. Grey's Anatomy, Scrubs, pretty bad, unnecessary, and just very obvious that it was like, oh, Buffy did it and it was cool. I think. Although a long time afterwards, Grey's would have been a long time after. Anyway,
a lot of soap operas did it as well.
Soap operas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everyone's trying to get an album out, but you don't make any money from being a singer. Especially you don't make any money from being an actor either. Ooh, we support the unions.
We do.
We do support the unions.
I can't wait till I am allowed to join.
Yay, one day.
Yeah, there's loads. Anyway.
Maybe when you get residuals for streaming. Then you can join.
Yeah.
When one can get residuals. So that's my Geekery of the Week, Ree. I feel it was important to mention, and it's Star Trek related, so there you go. Let's carry on.
Let's carry on with
Voyager.
Where we were.
Halfway Home. Which is the title I've given it, and it's not really catching, so,
And I, only because I thought it was like a reference to something in the show that I just hadn't been getting.
I just like
because the whole concept of the show is that they're going
but those who haven't seen it, the whole point of Voyager is...
Thanks for listening.
Episode 1, they get thrown to the other side of the galaxy. Mm-hmm. So they're transported to the Delta Quadrant, the opposite side of the galaxy.
Completely unexplored.
Even at maximum warp speeds, it would take 75 years.
65.
75 years to reach home. Do not question me.
Fine. I remember them saying 65 recently.
Because at various different points, of which I didn't take notice of, I should have, they get shunted forwards. So...
Yes.
spoilers for Scorpion, but you've seen Scorpion.
Is it Cass?
Yeah, that's 10 years off. And
Right.
but that happens a few of them. So like they find a mini wormhole and that sort of stuff. So they chant it down.
Yeah.
So at various points throughout the entire show will be different times.
Which is good because it feels like they're making progress instead of just like, oh, we got 75 more years.
The perpetual end depressingness. But yes, no, when it's 70,000 light years, which even at maximum warp speeds would take 75 years to get home.
Yeah. Which obviously they're not doing maximum warp speed the whole
At
time.
all times it's impossible and whatever. So
great concept.
It's a concept, but I do remember at the time finding that a little bit stressful because the Alien of the Week formula, Monster of the Week formula, sci-fi X-Files thing of the week formula was very comforting. Yeah. That you knew, like you were just saying, the end of the episode, we're fine.
Back to normal.
We just kind of carry on. That was, with this, was like, that can't happen. There has to be at least some progress, like you were saying. They can't stay that far away.
Yeah.
They have to, we know what the finale is. The finale is a very clear thing. Like, who knows, do you know what happened at the end of Next Generation? What the finale is about that?
I do, actually.
Yeah, me too. For once, we do. But, it could have been anything.
I see what you mean, yeah, because because the whole concept of like explorers in space means that there's no definitive
it's ongoing journey.
So Voyager, you have a definitive end.
Yeah, exactly.
Either they make it or they don't.
So that was
it's a question that's posed in the beginning of the series, episode 1, and then by the end of the show, you have to answer that question. It reminds me a lot of Samurai Jack. Actually, have you ever seen that cartoon show? Fabulous cartoon show.
It's good.
By the makers of Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory, etc. Again, he's displaced in time, and he has to find a way to get home. And some of the best episodes, pretty much every episode of Samurai Jack, involves him trying to find a way to get back to his timeline. And then by the end of the episode, he has to decide not to do it to like save somebody else or something like that. Similar
kind of concepts, which I always found stressful. Quantum Leap. And Dungeons and Dragons, there is a very specific trying to get home.
Right.
Yeah, the TV show. And because of you can't get it because once you do, that's the end of the show. Yep. It was this kind of depressingness because everything they try.
Yeah, is going to fail in some way.
In episode 3 or 4, they're like, we may have found a wormhole. It's like, well, honey, like, no, we know it's not.
Wouldn't it be crazy if it was? And like, we're back home now.
Now we'll just do the rest of the season in the Alpha Quadrant.
Yeah, exactly.
So I remember that being a little bit either depressing or stressful and a bit of a downer, which again, you listen to the music versus Next Generation. Yeah. It's Lost, Forlorn, Alone. Watching that as a sad single gay in his 40s. It resonates so differently with there's such an kind of like a vibe of like scrappiness to Voyager that I didn't pick up on, again, because I didn't watch it consistently. And didn't have the freedom. It's like, I know what happens at the end, and I know what happens in a lot of these episodes. I'm just watching it for the experience of it. A huge part of it, especially in 1 to 3, again, I can't remember much of the rewatch, is the kind of ragtag scrappiness that, they keep saying, like in episode 3 or 4, they're like, we're doing routine maintenance, but routine if we had access to a starbase. Yeah. So they have to forage for like, this will do. It's like, oh God, this one's broken. Here's a planet we can trade. Jean-Luc never had to do that. No. It was so pristine. Everyone was like formal, in their place. We have our adventures, shush, go, meeting adjourned, kind of to it, which is fun. I like that.
Do you think they still
I wasn't finished.
No, fine. Sorry.
I can't remember what I was going to say now.
It was my fault.
I've gone now. But okay, let me finish. Yeah, so that kind of stuff. It also made Janeway as a captain much more like part of the team. Mm-hmm. She couldn't keep her distance because everyone was in it together, and it was just a bit of a rough mess and that kind of thing. Yeah, they get lost on planets together. They get invaded by stuff, and it's all happening. It's a small little group of stuff that they really is like, and even half of them are. Maquis.
Which I was going to bring up, but
which I don't know if is a good or bad thing because she's the woman captain. She's much more approachable. Like, this Kess comes and chats to her. Who the fuck are you? Coming to chat to Jean-Luc. Like, the kid comes out, like, I want to chat to you. Like,
what?
Get the fuck...
Like, get back to
like,
school.
Like how pissy Jean-Luc was when Wesley was first brought onto the bridge and he had a real go at Beverly. It's like, whereas, it's like, hey, Cass, do you want some tea?
Yeah,
like,
come on to my private room, whatever it is.
Which, could be because she's the woman, but I don't think anyone would mistake Kate Mulgrew as being like a mumsy kind of character. She was very much like, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
What do you need? Fuck this. So,
but you're following my orders. We're all in this together. I'm not your friend.
I'm not your friend. And she would do anything and she would give her like that sort of thing. But things are this way for a reason. Don't fuck with me.
Which makes sense.
She does that really well.
Yeah,
she does. It balances it. Like, there's no question that she is so... And again, this is because I'm a gay and I'm obsessed with her. In the episodes where... Sorry, I'm going too fast. The episodes where people go against her, disappoint her. Like, it's like you could punish her. B'Elanna, Tuvok, and Neelix all do it. And Chakotay, because Chakotay sucks, but we'll get onto that. There's not really... She doesn't have the option to punish them. It's like, I can't throw you in the brig. I can't kick you off.
Yeah.
But there's this real...
Tom.
Because she can't punish them, there's this real... She has to show them how disappointed she is. And it really comes across, whether it's because I'm emoting too much or because Kate is excellent in it. When Tuvok betrays her, like taking the technology from the planet that could transport them a long way.
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Neelix does drug dealing.
Yeah.
B'Elanna, God knows what, she lies or whatever. There's this real sense of how you have let her down.
And not just her as well, because if you're impacting the entire crew...
It's such a huge impact.
Yeah.
Versus on the Enterprise, it's like, you will have a reprimand, or you're in the... it's like, you are me. It's like, this is like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, if B'Elanna blows something up, or if she dies or something, it's like, I need my engineer. Like, we don't have the option to dick around. Yeah. Is that real kind of... Which I didn't really pick up on the first time.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
Which I love.
I can't remember if I had thought of that as well.
Oh, sorry, rant. That was a lot.
Do you have feelings about this show?
That's that's like one of my points.
One bar.
I have more of these.
You make a good point, basically.
Thanks.
I don't know where I was going to go with that. It's very important for her to be in charge as well, because you have the element of the Maquis who are not loyal from the beginning. And I remember this being a significant point in the first season, where she is saying, like, you are here, you're part of the crew, but you're not official Federation members, whatever, because we need as many hands on board as we can. And so it's like, I guess I did sense that scrappiness feel as well. But I was just watching it for the show as well. Do you think they lost the sort of Maquis element as seasons go on?
Massively. I think it's a big... The split between the first 3 seasons and the rest is a lot, because they spend so much time in the first season is very much about figuring out how the crews work,
like the dynamic of the crew.
What are we doing? Like that sort of kind of weird stuff.
Which isn't true just of the characters, but also of the show, because the show is going to have to figure out what it's doing. It's in a completely different part of the universe where they have the opportunity to create new aliens, new planets, etc.
Who do we want? Like, people say they hated the Kazon. I like the Kazon, but
I didn't.
But they, they were huge. They were the bad guys.
Yeah.
People hated them, so they moved past.
Really?
Them.
I thought they were a bit ineffective, but I didn't think they were bad.
They got obviously about. Must be 3. I think they've gone up. They've left.
They've left.
Kazon's back. So
bye.
Which you can't do when you're just trolling around the Alpha Quadrant.
True.
Like, nope. These are the same Romulan assholes. It's like, nah, we're gone. We're gonna have new ones.
Yep.
But yeah, the first season really felt like trying to keep the ship together was a central part of it.
Yes.
Again, I can't remember huge amounts. We'll be back for the part 2 one. Once they're settled in, they know who works, everyone loves Chakotay, everyone loves that sort of stuff. It feels like they're all banded together by about 3. And there's other problems, which we'll get to in Scorpion.
Other problems with the ship or with the crew, or what do you mean?
With other problems they need to face from season 3.
Yes, indeed.
Finale onwards.
It's okay.
I'm just looking at my notes. Feeling was very much more a sense of family. Captain was always talking about that. We've already done that.
Yeah.
a sense of how alone the ship was, like all those establishing shots.
I really got that as well.
Where it's, the establishing shots at the beginning, end, or whatever, where it's just like going through the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
You really it makes you think about, with the voiceover, and that's like they're so
alone. They are the only humans in the entire quadrant. They're the only Federation starship. They have no resources at all to like help them. They have to.
No advice.
That's probably my feeling when you were talking about.
And your series listening to everything, and I was about to comment.
When you were talking about how the sense of loneliness, or no, the sadness or depression, whatever, it's just because, like, for me that was...
Sorry, squeaky chair.
For me that was sort of, like, anxiety almost. It was like, oh my gosh, you're in this complete quarter of the galaxy with no resources, no access to anything that's going to help you. You just have to sort of go.
Which I really like now as a crazy adult.
Yeah.
I listened to Janeway's autobiography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Read by Kate Mulgrew during lockdown. Fucking great. I loved it. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. But she talks about, the character talks about how, especially in the early days, that was her first command. So canon, that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Janeway had never been a captain. She'd never even been a first officer. She was the head science officer at the previous one, not the Botany where she was with Tom Paris's dad. One after that, and she hated the captain. They fought a lot. Anyway, so she was a head science officer, she was a commander, and she had bridge experience, but she'd never been a first officer, she'd never been a captain.
Mm-hmm.
So when this little teeny tiny ship was just going to be a runabout and pick up these criminals,
I'm
like, you're really good, you should do it, you come highly recommended. That was her first time being a captain.
Right.
So again, I know that rewatching it now, and how she is so alone, has to keep herself distant, but also, she's no one to talk to for advice. If you were bombing around Alpha Quadrant, she could... Hey, Starfleet guys, like, what would you do? She had no one to talk to for advice.
Yeah.
She'd never been a captain before and had to deal with this.
Is that clear in the show? Like in the sort of show?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all. I don't think they had even thought about that. I know she served with Tom Paris's dad.
Yeah.
And they talked about that.
Yeah.
But it just adds an extra thing, and it works. I think that works really well, how she just had to be like...
Yeah.
Gotta keep it together!
Now that you have extra information about her backstory, it makes it that much more interesting.
The book is really good because there's bits that they reference in the show, like how her dad died and she lost a tennis match once and lost her temper. And that's a big fucking part of the book. God, it goes on forever. How competitive she was and how she lost a tennis match and how she stropped away and that sort of thing.
We should link to the book in the show notes or whatever. She's all alone.
Yeah.
Backstory. You rewatching it with new backstory gives you a new perspective, which is great. What were your favorite episodes of the first 3 seasons?
One moment, please.
Just asking you in case you had like a list or something.
I don't think I have favorite episodes.
What are the ones that stand out?
Favorite episodes, I would say, are the ones that I remember. And I think for season... my favorite episodes are usually the ones with B'Elanna in it a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like she's a really big presence, especially because we were saying how it's about kind of keeping the ship together and running and cobbling it together. A huge part of that is engineering, so it seems more often than I remember it in later seasons that there's a problem with the ship or it's engineering. It's like, we need to do this, that sort of stuff. So she's inevitably a big part of it. And like her and Harry trying to figure stuff out. She's kind of the brains of the operation.
Yeah.
Which I think later, when Seven shows up, it's not anymore. She's the one who runs the experiments and that sort of science. Whereas it's always B'Elanna and Harry.
It's always B'Elanna. And when the Doctor comes in as well, because to remind people, I suppose, when the ship gets transported to the Delta Quadrant, like a lot of them die.
Oh, a lot of them die.
So we have B'Elanna, who was like a member of the Maquis ship that they were chasing. She was like a criminal, and now she is the most senior. She's the most knowledgeable, experienced person to be able to work in there. So she's in a really good. She's a really interesting character in that way because
she's such an interesting. I love.
She's not
B'Elanna's
loyal.
Character.
She's not immediately loyal to Janeway.
No,
but they need her to be the head of engineering, and when the Doctor, like all the doctors have died, so we have this hologram Doctor, and that like when something's wrong with him, that goes to engineering as well.
Yeah,
and so all of like the programming and stuff, and like where the Doctor evolves as a character, that's all B'Elanna. Where was I going with that? She's a good character.
She is, and I think her more than more than Janeway, is her character is hurt by Seven's arrival. Because I think it's episode 3, so part 1, part 2, the caretaker. Mm-hmm. And then like the first episode after that is where she's made chief engineer because she's had a fight with Carrie and that sort of stuff. And they go inside the some sort of horizon where they're seeing their past self, the ship, and they're trapped, all that kind of stuff. It's just a cute little scientific phenomenon that they have to try and figure out.
Right.
Love it. But I love it because of the dynamic between B'Elanna and Janeway. Mm-hmm. You have the like mother figure disapproving professor captain and hot-headed rebellious teenager thing, and that's completely taken over with Seven. That's the new dynamic, is Janeway and Seven, because they are interesting characters. Seven I love, is a brilliant character, but then what's B'Elanna's role? Tom's girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Hated that.
We'll get onto that.
So do you think that sort of that dynamic, because it does definitely persist through at least the first season and a half maybe, where she is like this reluctant head, like she's just been betrayed by her own captain, because it turns out that he was actually wasn't he like a double agent or something?
No, Tuvok was a double agent.
Not Chakotay. But Chakotay and Janeway have history.
Nope, not at all. He used to be in the Federation. He was
right. Okay.
You're a graduate of the academy. You're a graduate of the academy, and you have Starfleet command experience. I watched that episode a lot. That's what she's. Okay. That's when he's like, you're telling them to accept me, but not everyone else. Is like, you're qualified to be first officer.
Right. Okay.
Whereas B'Elanna never finished. All the other Marquis didn't go to Starfleet Academy, that sort of stuff.
So not quite a betrayal of her captain, but
betrayal by Tuvok. Absolutely.
Tuvok for sure.
And then Seska, another betrayal, but that's different. I think that brings them closer, but that's a different one.
Forgot about her as well.
Seska's a great character. I love her when she goes over to the Kazon. She's nuts. Her death is lame, though.
Her death
is so...
You basically like highlighted what I remember about her. Is that she's crazy. She goes over to the Kazon, and then her death is stupid.
Her death is stupid.
At one point as well.
She must have been pregnant in real life. She was a cool, interesting character.
She was
as a
Romulan?
Bajoran. She was a Bajoran, but was secretly a Cardassian. So she was definitely a double agent as well.
Yes.
So all of that, but that was revealed later. Like all of that, but she was really conniving and evil, and then she went to the Kazon, and then she got pregnant with Chakotay. We'll talk about Chakotay in a second. She kept, like taking over the ship and stealing stuff. She was great, but then was like they took over the ship and then they did a little phaser thing and she died.
Yeah,
it's like, what happened to the baby?
How do we break this character out?
It's a shame.
I thought she was pregnant with like a Kazon child.
I think it was a Kazon child, but she thought it was Chakotay. She said it was Chakotay's.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
Yeah,
it turned out to be Kazon. But then they died and whatever. She died and they got rid of them. I don't care.
Can't win them all, I suppose.
I don't
But
care.
the whole
Can't win them all. Sorry.
This is all about B'Elanna, though. Like how everybody she puts her trust in kind of leaves her. So like you got Tuvok, you got Chakotay, who is basically not on her side because
he can't be fully on her side anymore.
And then Seska as well has betrayed her.
There's a great episode. I love the episode where they split B'Elanna in half. So the ones who are suffering with the phage, those kind of grotesque thingies.
Yeah. Is it early on? Vidians.
So they split her in half because Klingon genes can help battle the phage, that sort of stuff. So they split her into a Klingon version, so you see her trapped as a full Klingon and that sort of stuff, and they have all these conversations and fights. Then you see there's a human half of her, so her without any makeup, and she's like timid and scared, so she has to work with literally herself.
I think I forgot that episode completely.
Oh, sorry, it's so good. And then
is it early on? Because the phase
pretty early on. Yeah. Pretty early on. And it's really good, and you get to see Roxanne Dawson, whatever, play full campy woman brilliantly, and this timid little Earth human thing. It's great, and it's a complex weird, like having the temper tantrums. Yeah. I have a very short temper, especially as a kid, so I really related to all of that.
Not anymore, though.
No, I'm very chill all the time. You should have seen me setting all this shit up.
So my original question was,
sorry, I don't even know.
Cut you off.
What were we talking about?
It was about
favorite episode.
They keep that sort of that rebelliousness through, and then she really does just chill out.
She chills out because they hook her up with Tom, and then Seven's
I
there,
love you, Tom.
and that's it. Because again, there's a lot of these episodes. Oh, I just thought of more stuff I want to talk about. A lot of these episodes I didn't see, so like I would see bits and pieces, and then I saw Scorpion, and The Gift, so I know that they get together.
Which one was The Gift?
Kes.
Right. Okay.
So I know that I think that's when they're together. They make whatever. So I knew that they ended up together, but I didn't realize it was really built up.
Yeah.
Bella and Tom fighting with each other stuff, which he is so awful at trying to get some sort of chemistry. There's a great one with the Panfar. So fun.
Never liked Tom.
We'll get into the men in a minute. I think we need to talk about that.
Yes, we have to talk about the men and the women.
Let me just
finish your point first.
So I didn't know there was that big build up. So they build up the romance for a long time. So fair enough. But yeah, the second they're together, Seven's here. Like, it's such a huge shift. It's like B'Elanna's done, because at one point she also gets pregnant in real life.
Yeah.
So it's like no one cares about her, and that's such a shame, because it's a big part of it. It makes it feel like, with the Marquis stuff, all that kind of thing. That's the vibe of Voyager is, and that it's kind of lost.
Yeah.
When she's kind of deprioritized.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of Maquis stuff happening, and
no,
because all of them
barely
kind of
remember it.
All of them kind of die at some point. They end up. Yeah.
A lot of them die.
They could have gone a different direction with that. But the thing is, they could have gone a different direction with the Kazon, for example, as well. They could have gone a completely different direction with Kess's character and her race, I suppose. But they just kind of threw a lot of stuff at the wall and just went with what stuck.
I was really defensive of Kess, of when they wrote her off. I'm like, oh, that's such a shame, because I love a chick with psychic powers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, rewatching it, they did not use her.
Nope.
They did not use her at all.
They didn't know what she was.
I don't think Jennifer could have
had
the charisma and stage presence to make that character something interesting.
I mean, she was also written as really timid as well.
There was no journey for her at all. Well, because she was coupled with Neelix for so long, which is, again, we'll talk about the men in a second. But she didn't do anything. She didn't have any agency. She was just so timid and softly spoken. No, they were trying to make her the Deanna Troi, and it did not work.
It makes me think of where they really fail with characters is when they have the character be something, even if it's timid. They didn't give her any sort of motivation. Like, what was she doing? What was she hoping for? I don't know what she was doing. All the interesting stuff that they tried to make with her was stuff that was happening to her. She didn't choose anything there was no sort of positive motivation of her as a character. Everything was like, oh no, I'm pregnant or ovulating or whatever it was.
So shit. That was
I hated that episode. I have
so
so many things wrong with that episode.
I hated that episode. But
anyway,
there were two episodes with her. So there's one where they meet other Ocampo on the space station.
Yes.
The ones that left with the other caretaker.
Yes.
And then another one on another space station, both where her character questions whether she should stay on Voyager or is her destiny elsewhere.
Okay.
Which I don't remember. I never saw the other one until recently. Mm-hmm. So one where the guy teaches her how to use her powers and she sets fire to stuff. Cool episode.
Yeah.
Because I love me some psychic powers. And the other one, she's just flirting with a guy and wants to have sex with him after her and Neelix break up. And she says to the captain, she's like, I'm 2 years old. I don't know if I want to spend the rest of my life on Voyager. Mm-hmm. And Janeway's like, that makes me sad, but of course I understand that. And I didn't see that episode before, so it adds a little depth to the character when she leaves.
No, I get that.
But not enough.
Not enough, because that's, when we talk about Neelix, I know we mentioned there's that. Again, he's also ineffective and doesn't really do anything. I don't get it, but there's one episode where he kind of redeems himself when he suddenly realizes that his knowledge of the
child.
There's one episode where Neelix realizes that the reason he's on the ship is because of his knowledge of the space, and they've gone past that point, which was inevitable anyway. But now he's sort of struggling with his purpose now, and I was like,
that's the episode where he does drug dealing, and
I think so, yeah.
And that Janeway's really disappointed with him.
Yeah, and so, but there's a positive, I see there's a positive choice for that character to do, so that kind of redeems him a little bit. But again, not enough. I don't care as much about him as a character.
Shall we talk about the men?
Hang on, let me just think.
Let's do the men in one big clump, because I don't want to do them individually. Well, we'll talk about them individually, and then some episodes, and then we're done.
Sure, because...
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
we've done the women without realizing we did Janeway, B'Elanna, and Kes. So let's just do
But
the
I
men.
will say, before we... this is a good segue into talking about the men. That show, because looked it up, it came out about 2 years before Buffy. And Buffy obviously is a very female-led show.
Yeah.
And this was like the first sort of really main TV show, mainline, primetime.
Mainstream,
Primetime
prime
TV
time.
show with like a strong female character. And not just one, there were 3.
And
Well,
something that Kate was really adamant about. Well, 2 and then Kes.
2 and Kes.
That Kate Mulgrew was really adamant about that it wasn't sexualized. Like, and they kept,
Yes,
they made such a big fuss. She was saying they made such a big fuss in the first 3 seasons, which you can watch, but after 4 they stop, of her hair. And it's quite...
What's the thing about her hair?
No, but they made such a fuss about how Janeway wears her hair, and it drove them nuts. So, like, in I think it's 4, it's cut short, and that's it. I have it short, and it's done. Because it's also a bit of it's a fun trope that you can tell how bad the situation is based on her hair.
Oh yeah,
like
okay.
if it's a smash and nothing moves, it's like, we'll be fine. But if she wakes up and it's like all out, you're like, shit.
That's amazing.
All main systems down, emergency power only kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can see how unfurled her bun becomes.
As an indicator of how severe
Yeah.
this situation is.
But you can see, because she started off really top knot, and they're like, oh, should we let it down a little bit more? One random episode, she has her future hair, and then the next it's back up. I'm like,
I noticed
what's
that.
going on?
I don't pay attention to details like that, but I did notice that her hair's... I'm like, oh, her hair's different. And then next
Yeah.
episode it was like, her hair's back to
They made
what it was before.
such a thing because, of course, women, hair,
I
women.
know.
But it was really important to her that her character is not about being sexy, because of course back then that's all they were.
Yeah.
The pretty sexy
Yeah.
girl thing. And it's like, no.
And how important it was at the time, in the
Yeah.
90s,
So I do understand her frustration. She was the lead of a show, working really hard to make this a non-sexualized character, and then they introduce a sexy character who takes a lot of the press
That's
attention.
true.
So they hated each other.
Did they?
Oh,
The actors?
hated.
Yeah.
She made Jerry's life hell.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, I'm sure we talked about this before, because it's one of, like, I learned that well after the series finished.
Ryan Murphy, if you're listening, this is your next season of Feud.
Apparently Kate would, like, sit down. If she was off camera doing a scene, she would, like, sit down, or she would walk off. Like, she would say her lines and then leave. Like,
Really?
She wouldn't look at Jerry Ratner. She would just make her life hell. All these kinds of things.
Interesting, I never knew that. Yeah.
Which is shitty, but also... I get it, but that's unprofessional, Kate. That's unprofessional. Anyway.
How do I feel about that? I need to...
It's upsetting.
I need time to digest that,
I think they've made peace now, because who cares?
Yeah.
And she does say, it's like, I think Kate Mulgrew was angry with the situation and took it out. It's like, I don't want this to be the situation, blah, blah, blah. And then
the thing is,
but it was more angry with the producer and that sort of stuff. So
yeah, I know, I get it, because it's basically like it's putting the focus back on the male characters, basically, because first of all they're boring as shit, but also because it's a very sexual character, which I didn't really, obviously I know it, but I didn't really like think about how important that was. But it's about like she's skin tight costume, boobs out,
bored,
and yet like doesn't understand her sexuality, her sexualness. Yeah, like I didn't know what we're talking, and like,
oh god,
what's his name? Garrett Wang.
Harry Kim.
Harry drooling. Tom knows he's... Yeah, it's just like, I'm bored of all that.
There's some stuff in season 7, which we will talk about when you see season 7. So we'll come back to that. But let's talk about the men, because we're not here to talk about 7 of 9. 7 of 9, we love you. No. You are not here yet.
Correct.
This is pre-7.
Pre-7, which is 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
The men.
The men. For a female captain, a female-led show, most of the characters are men. And almost all of the characters are shit.
I hate them. I hate them all.
I don't hate all of them. I don't like any of them. Who's the one that you don't mind?
Tuvok.
Same! So,
I don't mind Tuvok.
When I was first watching it, back teenage Nick, couldn't stand Tuvok. It's like, you're so boring, you're so shit. And I think maybe I didn't mind maybe the Doctor or something like that. Maybe Harry, because I liked his job. I thought that was fun. But rewatch it. Hang on, I have notes about. I have notes about Tuvok. I want to say my piece about Tuvok.
Say no to Tuvok. I forgot about the Doctor as well. I don't hate him.
So I'm kind of into Tuvok. I always saw him as a nag, miserable old fart. Now rewatching it, he is a wise and calming voice. He's logical, but always he's offering spiritual advice. Like he offers spiritual guidance and meditation to Kes and all these other people. Like he is comforting and isn't dismissive about how they're going on that journey.
Yeah.
They don't talk, and they also don't talk about how Vulcans are super strong in a lot of other shows. Did you know Vulcans are super strong?
No.
Apparently they are. And Tuvok kicks ass. So he's strong, silent, reserved, intelligent, wise,
strong,
experienced.
silent type.
Oh, can you imagine sex with a Vulcan? That would be nuts!
You just say that because you like Ethan
so
Peck.
Intense. I said at the same time. I'm watching that at the same time. But no, so much appreciation for Tuvok's character. Also, Tuvok was obviously next in line to be first officer. And that's something they do mention. And she's like, I know you are should have been my first officer. Yeah. And the connection he has with Janeway and their relationship and friendship, it's so lovely because it's not a big fussy silly thing, but he would do anything for her, and likewise.
That's good.
And I love it. There's so much more, and the guy who plays it is really good.
I think he's very good.
He has some really good episodes where he like loses it, and they're really fun.
Okay. Yeah, but the thing is, you can only do that when you have a character who is normally not that. Yeah. And so when he does lose his shit, it's really effective. As a Vulcan, he doesn't have emotion, which in this scenario where you're lost adrift, like you really, really need that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it's because with all the Marquis, love Bailana, fuck you, Chakotay, everyone's so emotional because you're not trained to be here. We don't know what we're doing. We're all stressed. And he for Janeway and for everyone else, has a calming voice. It's like, we can't lose our fucking minds. Yeah. Oh.
For the good of the many.
Yeah. kind of thing. He's not a great character, but he is the best male.
He's the best male character
in that show.
So from there,
let's go.
So we go down. What's the next least annoying male character?
For me, I think it's Harry.
I think it's the Doctor.
No, I used to think that.
Okay.
He is such a creep.
Especially in the first. Oh, he is
such an ick in. And I don't know if it's the actor or just like because they play around because he does have emotions. He's not the Data. He's not stoic and useless. He has pride and loses his temper and frustration, so it's fine. And then when he starts trying to do dating stuff, or when he's like...
When does that happen?
Oh, he dates one of the Vidians in holographic form. He gets weird.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he takes on, like, not the Moriarty, but, you know, like, he has all the characters, and then they get
in the holodeck kind of stuff. Yeah,
and he's this creepy... It's real rapey vibes.
Okay.
He plays it real ick. Okay. And I don't remember that.
I can see that,
It's when and it's not... He's not... Ugh, I don't like any of it. It's always condescending. I know that's his character. It's always condescending, weird, and creepy. I don't like it.
Okay, I get it. I like him because he's fascinating as a character because he's a program in the same way that Data is. So like you don't it really shines a light on how we define ourselves as humans in a way, and they allow the Doctor to have this new programming to make him more. I guess I kind of give the Doctor a bit of not a pass, I suppose, or maybe I just didn't understand. I didn't really find that the rapiness of him was part of his actual character.
That's when you binge watch it. You see that's just a little bit of a trope, and it comes across
get it.
A little bit creepy. Yeah. And anyway, I know that's the final episode.
He's a program. He's a hologram. It's just like that is. But then as the way I kind of view it is as a sort of emergency holographic, whatever he's called,
emergency medical
hologram, EMH. He's got one task, and he has that sort of shortness of him where he's very business only, and then you kind of have to build on this programming to make him more of a human character. Mm-hmm. And there's one episode where the programming is a bit too complicated, and he can't handle it, kind of phases out or something like that. Mm. And they have to realize that he is learning. He's learning how to be a musician and how to have emotions and how to connect with the crew, like have more of a doctor's bedside manner kind of thing. I think it's great. I like all that. And there's one episode as well, which I don't think it is in the first 3.
Well, then you can't talk about it.
I'm gonna not talk about it in case it is.
Because we have to do these characters again in the second half.
True. I should have looked it up.
So we're focusing on just the beginning parts of their journey.
And when does he get the portable?
Yeah, he's got it.
In season 3?
2 or 3, I think.
So
which I'd never seen before. Like, they reference it, it's like, oh, it's 29th century technology.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that episode. And you know why? I skipped over it. Because what do they do? It's like, oh no, we've traveled back in time to 1997 Los Angeles.
Is that the one with Sarah Silverman in it?
It is the one with Sarah Silverman.
It's got a character called Rain or something like that.
I don't know.
I was like...
The fucking gripe I have with Star Trek. They're like, oh no, we've been pulled back in time to whatever the fucking time period it is in whatever city they are filming it in. So they're like, let's just go outside and film some shit there.
It's just budget.
Oh, it drives me insane that every single fucking one does it. Yeah. And that's that one. So I skipped it. That's where he gets the hollow emitter.
So it adds just another dimension. He's sort of...
Mobile emitter.
He's growing as a character. He's got a very clear sort of arc in a way. He's learning how to be human.
Yeah.
Basically. And I like that.
So, I know. Mine would be Harry. Because I feel like he is a very relatable part, especially in the 1, 2, 3, an aspect of that journey. He, Janeway has to keep herself resolved, Tuvok, that sort of stuff. He is, I want to go home now. He's very much the heart of it. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's the kid character, never gets promoted. Ooh.
No, spoilers.
Everyone makes fun of him for that. Well, he does. Anyway, you can't say that. And I find that it's, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's charming. Because he's not. He is quite hot though, and they have in season it must be 3. Neelix sets up a holodeck program, which is like a cabana vibe.
Yeah.
Which again I do not remember it being a thing. It's there through the whole season. They're always going there. So clearly someone had that set or built that set. It's like, fucking use this.
Yeah.
So they're always they're always going to that one program.
This is a program that someone left it there. We just like going back there.
Whatever. It's from Melrose Place or something. I don't know.
Really?
And like they're there like hanging out, and like Tom Paris is there in his Hawaii shirt, and Garrett Wang is there in like a mesh see-through black top. And I'm like,
really?
Good for you, Garrett. It's fun. And he is hot. And the reason he was supposed to be, it was either him or Jennifer were going to get fired.
Really?
At the end of season 3, because they were the least popular ones. But then he was like voted sexiest man on TV, like whatever.
Do you think it was because of that episode?
I think it's because of the mesh top. And he looked good in it.
Good choice, Garrett.
And so he got pressed, and they're like, right, we'll keep you. And they got rid of Jennifer instead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't disagree with that. I don't see why you couldn't have had an extra character.
Kept them, yeah. Money, yeah. Harry Kim is much lower. I'm not sure exactly where. Probably next, but I don't like him. I think the term I use when talking to you about Harry Kim is wet rag. Wet.
Definitely
rag.
Wet. He is definitely
so
wet.
Inconsequential. He doesn't.
No, but he's
his part on the bridge could be filled by anybody.
His operations is like the most inclusive like fucking thing. If you watch other shows, they have a different person for all communications is ops, all these kind of things.
Oh really?
It's a big fucking job, and I like that job. But you're right.
Good.
He is not an interesting character.
He doesn't bring anything to that role.
He's like when they have a kid character, which they also obviously do in the later series. Naomi, yeah. He's kind of like how you have that character who's the innocent one that you're like, they show the emotion of what everyone else is also going, but whether they're hiding it or not. I feel like he's the basic one. He's the basic one. Plain, simple. Wants to get home, sad, misses his girlfriend, misses his mom. Of course.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's not just that. Like, I don't think even that is done well. But it's also like, ooh, I don't know how to talk to girls. Like, hey, Tom Paris, can you give me advice? Like, no, I'm not here for anyone.
He never asks for advice because he doesn't want to talk to girls because he has a girl back home. Tom pushes him on the Delaney sisters because Tom is a fucking predator.
But then why?
We'll wait. He's later. So that's how.
Who Tom is?
Tom is way later in our lists.
But like, okay. I forgot about the girlfriend completely because obviously he does go after 7 or 9 later.
No, he just
Oh, he's
Makes
like,
goo-goo
he's
eyes
just
at
shy. You're like, oh,
We're not
no,
talking about
that's
season.
sexy.
We're
You know,
not
anyway.
talking about seasons. We're doing
Don't
1,
like
2,
him.
and 3.
Don't like him. At the
That's
beginning.
absolutely fine.
Inconsequential.
So what's your one off? So
Doctor's
Harry,
least.
and then after Doctor for you,
maybe Chakotay.
I'm the Doctor. I think after Harry.
Yeah. So I
think after the Doctor, Chakotay for me now. He's higher up, even though I think vocally
it's Chakotay then Harry.
Hated him. Oh wow, okay.
I just am annoyed by Harry Kim in a lot of ways. But Chakotay, I just think let's talk about Chakotay because he's basically...
We're on to Chakotay now. I hate him! I hate him.
He's very clearly, and obviously we can say this now, looking back on it, where we can binge it, but he's very much like he's supposed to be a Native American character.
He sure is, but my God, he references his grandfathers and his spirits every
single time. Yes,
he's going to save the day.
He's a one-trick pony.
There's a story that my ancestors told me, like,
and I go, please,
which again is the writing. That's not Robert Beltran. That is bad representation writing.
And somehow this. I hate it because it's shoehorned diversity.
Yeah.
And I also hate it because it makes no sense in a sci-fi show. If he's talking about like, well, the spirits of my ancestors, we are long from where we
born on
grew
Jupiter.
Up.
Like, for Christ's sake, he's
Who
not...
was?
I don't know. He was born
Chakotay
on
was born on
I don't know. I'm making shit up.
Okay.
I could check that. But
like,
a lot of them were. You're not from... Where do they...
Native... If he's supposed to be Native... I don't know if he's supposed to be Native American. Maybe he's...
Yeah, he absolutely is, because they go in... Maybe not North American, but still the Americas. Because he goes, he flashes back to his dad, who was played by a white actor.
Doesn't work.
A terrible, hammy, shit, old school white actor plays his dad. Who's like, our people. It's like,
our people.
Oh no.
Awkward. I mean, I know we shouldn't judge
the
past by our today's standards, but it's just too icky.
But it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. The spirituality of it is also doesn't work in a sci-fi show because you are like 70,000 light years from home, but the spirituality.
I think Tuvok has the spirituality because it's it's
himself.
Thoughts,
It doesn't rely on anybody else like ancestors.
They do a much nicer approach to mindfulness and that kind of sort of stuff with Tuvok's approach rather than this Chakotay mess. And and I'll say this again with another character later on, and I'm sure you know who, but he is not sexy enough to be a heartthrob. Like, it's clear
was that his point?
It's clear that Chakotay is supposed to be the sex symbol because B'Elanna has sex dreams about him. Seska has sex with him all the time, and it's very, very obvious, and I think done very well, especially in that episode, that there is sexual tension between him and Captain Janeway. And I think that's done well. Okay. When they go on that planet, that they think they have the incurable disease, so they just set up a little shack there and have to live there for the rest of their days.
I don't remember that one. Oh, wait.
Oh my God, it's so important and so good. You need to go back and watch it. Yeah, they wake. The episode starts with them like getting out of pods or something, and they're put back on this planet because they've been infected by something, and the atmosphere of the planet is keeping them alive. If they leave, they will die.
Right. Okay. Vague recollections.
So they set up, they have stuff, and they set up a camp and everything like that. She's doing research to see if she can find a cure. He's like being man of the word stuff and that kind of thing.
Yes, I do. He doesn't like chop wood or something like that.
He does all that shit. Makes them a boat, all that kind of thing. Makes her a headboard. Gives her a neck massage. It is done so well because there's a little bit of flirt, and she goes to bed, and she comes back. It's like, we need to talk about this. And they have this really frank...
Yeah.
And he says this there's a story my ancestors told me, and he tells a bullshit story. She's like, is that really a story? Does it matter? And it's just saying that. But it was done really sweet. Yeah. It's his way of talking, and he's like, I will always be on your side. I will always be there for you. I'll always fight for you. Bullshit. But... bullshit.
Spoilers. Okay.
Bullshit. He turns on her the second she is not able to make a decision. It happens in that... Scorpion, but it also happens in another episode where she goes into a coma and she's like, make sure you do this, this, and this, and then she's taken out, whatever. The second she's out of the way, he's like, no, we're doing this. Fuck you, I'm in command.
Yeah.
He is it's fake, I can't think of the word.
Fake leadership? Fake bravado?
Values, fake depth
morals.
to him. He's just shit. He's shit. And he's like, oh, yes, I still like it.
Bullshit.
The second anything, punches people in the face, Fuck you. You're not you're not Federation. You're shit.
Yeah.
And you're not sexy enough. Not sexy enough for everyone to be lusting over this fat old guy. No. No.
Poor actor, yeah.
No.
No, you're right, though.
That's my opinion.
What is the word? Like values.
Self-righteous.
Not intuition. Initiative. No, I've said what I wanted to say about Chakotay. He's shoehorned diversity, and the spiritual doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And
so
there's other stuff to talk about later on, but we'll do that in part 2.
Under him, I would probably put Harry's.
Okay.
He's pointless in all words. And I think there's only one person left.
Huh?
There's only one person left?
There's 2 people left.
Oh, I think I'm missing.
I hate them both so much, but I think I recently swapped my old...
Oh, yeah.
So I think now we're the same. It used to be the other way around, but after Chakotay is Neelix. He was always my worst, and rewatching it from the start, I'm like screaming at the TV. I hate this character. He is the comic relief who is not funny.
Not funny.
He's not charming, sweet, endearing. He is a bumbling fucking oaf. He is a 45-year-old man with fucking whiskers sleeping with a 2-year-old. It is so gross. Yeah. And he's jealous and shitty and burning shit and can't make coffee. He sucks at everything he does. And what's his job? To show that, like, oh, everyone loves Neelix. Why?
Yeah, why?
You're a knob.
Yeah, I don't like him. Don't like him. How do you really feel? He is...
I can't think of...
Another word I can't think of.
Inconsequential?
Inconfident. He's not insensitive.
Insecure.
Insecure, that's the one. He's insecure, and his point is to give guidance to the Enterprise as it goes through, but you don't even see him... Sorry. To the ship as it goes through this quadrant that he's supposed to know a lot about and doesn't really do... He does it maybe 2 or 3 times in the course of 3
Because that would have been interesting, but no, And now, season 3, they're out of his space, so what? He's the cook? You need a cook?
Because you can't replicate...
Cook?
I guess.
Yeah, but what? No one else can cook?
I don't know. They should eat him.
But kind of a big
They should eat Neelix.
Fucking carve him up. He is... he doesn't... I don't know what the point of him was, but whatever it was, it didn't work.
No.
You're not fun, sweet, interesting, caring, whatever. You sucked. And he does this thing with his mouth. He talks...
Oh, yes.
It's like, fuck off, I hate her! I'm sorry. It's mouth sounds. I can't stand mouth sounds.
It's, yeah.
I apologize.
You can play unconfident, but you still have to... It's good if you do it well. You still have to play it as in you want something so bad you have to overcome your own lack of confidence.
But it's creepy because it's a 2-year-old girl. He's insecure when it's that.
I know it's technically 2-year-olds, but obviously she's very young. She's very like a teenager.
Yeah.
Don't they live like 5 years
old? That's not okay.
No, again, it's not okay, but it's not 2. She's not a baby.
No, but he's also a 45-year-old actor with a 20-something-year-old actress.
Yeah,
it's the same old
creepy
shit. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So no to that.
No.
But another character who was supposed to be one thing and does not do that well.
Tom Paris. Why don't you fuck off, Tom Paris?
Oh my god!
Go home.
The entire aspect of his character is to be the sexy one,
the bad boy,
the charming one who has no fucking chin, no charisma. He's wet. He is bland. He is boring, and oh, you're Sarah Silverman. It's like, oh, sexy, but I was like,
no.
He's not.
He's really not. Do you know, the thing is, like, because he had that one episode in Next Generation...
That was on my list, but...
And they're trying... Yeah, I know. But they basically said to him, like, listen, be that character, but not the same character. But be that kind of...
I don't know why he couldn't be that character. Because he is that character, it's just a different name.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing that happens to him. Bad thing happens, blames it someone else, goes to prison.
Yeah, it could have been.
And then it's
I don't know what it wasn't.
It's the same. I don't know why.
But then, I don't know if it's because they made him be a different named character, but it just doesn't work anymore because his attitude in the episode was good because he was sort of a bad boy. But now he's the bad boy trying to be in the pilot in charge, whatever, and it just
Ugh.
He's disgusting. The kind of way that you think of the Doctor, I'm thinking of him as like trying to get his mouth on every female that comes through.
Everything. And again, because it's done as if the women are like barely holding it together because they can't resist him. I'm
so
like,
gorgeous.
What?
No.
What?
Yeah.
This is the best you could find? And it's not that he inspires anger in me the way that clearly Neelix does.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. The way that Neelix and Chakotay do, because they're aggressively annoying. He's just the perfect example of a guy showing up and not doing anything and being like praised for it.
He doesn't do anything. But the thing is, like, being the pilot is difficult because how are you going to show that he's a good pilot?
Exactly.
You know,
and to keep doing Delta Flyer shit, which they obviously keep doing. And
whatever.
Oh, well, we're not on the Delta Flyer yet, so we can't talk about that.
But you mean like? Oh, the Delta Flyer is the
new ship.
The ship you kind of like built. That's later, isn't it?
Yes, it's right now. No. But Threshold and kind of shit like that.
Yeah, which is confusing because Delta Flyer is the name of a wagon in America, like the red wagon. Isn't it called the Delta Flyer? I think so. Write it in if you think I'm wrong.
Maybe that's why they did it. They are American, so
yeah. Maybe that's why they did it. Yeah. But yeah, he's not even that bad. He's not even. He's just bad.
He's just so nothing. Could have fired him. We don't need him. Where was that hot?
Fire him. Fire Tom.
Do you remember in the first episode he was perving over the woman who was flying him to Voyager?
Don't remember that now.
She was because she was Betazoid. Because obviously I love me as someone with psychic powers. This hot Betazoid chick was the con officer. It's like, why didn't we keep her? Yeah. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
We got this with weird chest hair poking out. Like,
was I never even noticed that?
Because I have a thing about it, and it's so 90s that like V cuts were a thing.
Yeah.
And when he goes on the, when they go down and they accidentally cause the time loop that blows up the planet, and he's there and they're wearing stuff, and he saves the snotty kid. Ugh. He's awful. He also makes mouth noises when he talks. Ugh. Bad.
What episode are you talking about when he saves the kid?
It's again one of the really early ones that go like they come across a planet that's completely blown up. Mm-hmm. Kes has a psychic flash, blah blah. So they go down, and Tom and Janeway are put into a little bubble, and it puts them back 24 hours. So they're on the planet before it blew up. So Voyager's trying to get them back before the planet blows up, so they don't get killed.
Right.
And it's spoiler for episode 4 of Star Trek Voyager. Their attempt to break through is what ruptures a nuclear power plant and kills everything. It's really good, classic Star Trek. But yeah, there's a kid and he jumps in front of a gun, but he's so shit. He's the cowboy character that I hate.
Yeah,
he's Poe Dameron.
He's the Poe Dameron.
He's all of these kind of things that oh Tom, you're so charming and sexy. Poe Dameron in real life is sexy, but Oscar.
Yeah.
He's sexy.
Yeah.
Thomas, Eugene, Paris, Robert Duncan McNeil. No. You can't get away with that. You're not sexy enough to get away with being a dick.
No.
And shit at your job. Anyway, so that's Tom Paris.
Yeah. It doesn't work as a character.
We haven't talked about anything that happens in the first 3 episodes. We just slagged off all the characters.
Is that horrible episode that is derided? Is that in the first 3 seasons?
Yes, it is. I have some key episodes, but I can't remember.
Go on, let's do some key episodes.
So one of the key episodes we've already talked about is the one with Janeway and Chakotay getting trapped. And I think it was so important because it was, again, they had time because they've got 26 episodes to let the whole episode be about them being on a planet and how it also shows that she's like, I can't be like this on the ship. I have to keep the distance. And then they get close and then they go back on the ship and have to just, the final shot is of I need a report on the security details of this, and we're going to do that. She just switches back off, and you just see her go from when she was vulnerable with him, and a chance to let her guard down with him, which up until that point she hadn't, and, makes their relationship different, and it was really good. And I don't like him, and I don't like romance, but I do wish they had done more with that sexual tension without being too much.
And they never go back to that either, do they?
Not really. They do a few mentions where that sort of thing. It showed Janeway's softer side and how she's really alone and really feel it when she just sits back down in a uniform on the ship after being in, flowy hair in the fields and that sort of stuff. And I think that does a lot for her character. I think that's because I'm a Janeway stan.
Yeah. What are the notable episodes?
Oh, these aren't good episodes. I just don't know ones that piss
We're not calling notable. We're just saying notable episodes.
These are the ones that piss me off the most.
Go on.
False prophets. The ones where they find the two Ferengi.
Yeah, okay.
And they were doing... This is the Neelix, right?
Just a fun episode because it ties back to one episode in Next Generation.
Neelix goes undercover as a Ferengi because he's also played... Ethan Phillips has played with Ferengi on the other shows before. And he was also in First Contact as a hologram. So they've used him before.
Right.
So he's done Ferengi before. So they have him dress up and look like a Ferengi.
Right.
And all, and then they find out he's doing it. Then he's like, no, I'm part of a Voyager thing. That's like, and the whole time I was like, he's like double crossing them. No, he's just shit. He got figured out. He ratted on them by two Ferengi, not to be racist, but Ferengi are awful, like dumb as fuck.
They're written that way.
He failed at tricking the Ferengi.
Yeah. What does that say about his character?
Fuck off, Neelix.
Okay.
Warlord. But I don't know if you remember this one, where Cass is possessed by a warlord, and she kind of gazes it up. Yeah, psychically possessed by some alien ship, blah, blah, blows up. He dies and goes into her body.
Yes, okay,
So she's possessed by him.
Rings a bell. Didn't like it.
It's not good. Fun for Jennifer to play that. I don't think she does it very well. I don't think she does it very well. That's what I said. But she gets to be kind of like gay. Because she's like...
Because don't they hit on B'Elanna or something like that? So she gazes
she's not very... Yeah, she can't... Not really got the acting chops for it.
Uh-huh.
You know how like when Tuvok goes crazy?
Yeah.
I think it's good. Whereas when she goes like mask and like stomping around the room, you're like, this is awful. But I did like how, that she gayed it up because she was flirting with the men, even though she was a man, and also the women because that's his ex possessed, that kind of stuff. They obviously let her kiss the men, but not the women because it was
because of TV,
that sort of thing. It wasn't good, but
don't remember that one as much.
Notable ones. Macrocosm is the name of this one.
I know this one. I do remember this one.
Which I just remember G.I. Janeway.
Oh, yeah. I remember because of the awful CGI.
Yes, really bad CGI. But it is the 90s still at this point, I think.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit bonkers concept as well.
Yeah, so
virus
it's a virus that's made...
It grows big.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense as a... Anyway, like the physicality of that kind of entity wouldn't really work. It's kind of like having an ant the size of a building. You wouldn't because those legs are designed to keep up that... But anyway, it doesn't work.
My brain. Sci-fi.
True.
It's a chance for Kate Mulgrew to completely dominate the episode and just be the star and the leader of the show.
Yeah.
It's very much Picard in First Contact.
Yeah.
He's buttoned up and serious the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, right, come on, Patrick, let's give you some action. Put him in a vest with a gun. Put her in a vest with a gun.
Yep.
Fucking fun. I loved it.
That was fun.
And it was more that like, bitch, this is my show. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an interesting episode that you've had, Chakotay. This is my show.
Does she get like a big old kind of gun?
Well, she's got the plasma rifles, she's got the grenades and everything. She takes everything up, and she's in a white vest, and she's fucking prowling around.
I remember thinking when I saw that, I was like, this is really fun. And then I looked up and people love it.
I love it. It was, great. Any chance for Janeway to just go nuts.
Yeah.
I love it. I love all of that.
Which is great, because again, it's like when we're talking about Tuvok, it's the thing where you are like this all the time, so that when you're different, it's great. Yeah.
And she and has the chops to do both.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. That's my
I want to point out people like the episode Tuvix. Remember this one where
I surely do. And again, she mentions it in her book.
Oh yeah,
she was wrong to do it.
To do what? What are you gonna say?
Tuvix.
Oh, I didn't like it, and I can't explain why.
And I think we all agree. Everyone agrees. That's murder. She was wrong to do it. She literally, he was there, please don't do this to me. She pushed the button and killed him. Yes, it brings back 2 people, but one of those is Neelix. So we don't really need that.
Yeah.
And she didn't choose, to... Anyway, yeah, it is murder. But it's a divisive episode, and I think it's a good talking point.
Yeah.
People...
that's one episode where I didn't like it when it came on, and then I looked it up later. I was like, people love this episode for whatever reason.
Do they? I think creepy. So. He's just got Neelix features on a black guy. It's creepy.
I thought it was weird, and I didn't. Maybe the sort of the moral dilemma really unsettled me. That's an episode where I would watch it again. So yeah, props, credit to that. And we have to talk about Threshold.
Threshold's that bad.
It's awful.
I don't think it's that
It
bad.
is the worst episode of all Star Trek across every single series. It's awful.
Just an episode.
It's wrong in a lot of ways. And I don't really like... The worst thing isn't Tom Paris and Jamie having sex as salamanders. It's just the concept of, I'm going to reach warp 10, which is like, I'm reaching the speed of light kind of thing within this sci-fi world, and it changes me physiologically. Well, warp is fast as speed of light, but I'm saying like there's a hard limit in real physics that things cannot go faster than the speed of light. So in this sci-fi realm, if warp 10 is like the unattainable, the infinity, whatever, this random person on Delta Quadrant figures it out, a character that I hate already, and then it just changes him physically. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. And I know that the writer of this episode, Brandon Braga, he always complains that people always bring this up. And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know why.
I have 26 episodes to write.
He writes
I've got to write something.
He's probably wrote even a lot of good episodes that I really like. But it's just, I watched it, I'm like, what is this trash? And then the way that Janeway kind of at the end says to Tom Paris, like, well, we did it. We made babies on this other planet, probably starting a whole new ecosystem. But I wouldn't have rather done it with anybody else. Anyway, back to work. And I'm like, that's wrong. I don't like that. It just was creepy and it doesn't work. And I hate it.
Do you remember the one with space dinosaurs? There's another one with space dinosaurs.
Probably not, because, I hate dinosaurs.
There's another space... Oh, I love dinosaurs. But there's an episode where an alien race in the Delta Quadrant theorize and find out that they are genetically related to humans because they evolved from dinosaurs that left Earth before the
crash,
and then traveled eventually to the Delta Quadrant, and now they are a species of space dinosaurs.
Space dinosaurs. So somewhere there's a dinosaurs.
That was
you didn't like that one?
That was very much when they were on the holodeck putting all the genes together, they're like, oh yes, I remember it. I've seen this. This is from the Cretaceous. I was like, oh.
Love it.
Vague it up. Generic space dinosaurs, fine, but Earth. Also, I hate the one with Amelia Earhart.
They left. Oh yeah.
I hate shit like that. It's like, oh my god, here's a truck from 1940s America, and Tom Paris knows how to fix it.
Of course, like
oh my god, it's a truck. It's like, we know what a truck is. I hate shit like that.
This is a truck from the 19th, like 1920th.
I hate shit like that.
There's a lot of like, obviously you can't avoid references to the real world, but if you reference something so close to today.
I hate, when they're like, oh, it was really popular in early Earth. It's like
90s Earth.
No, but it's also not that. It's early 90s American Earth.
True.
It's not even, you haven't even crossed a fucking ocean. How many different species live on this ship and it's about America still? Like, come on. We don't need those references. They do that in all of them. They do it in the Orville as well. He still fucking listens to 1930s jazz or whatever the fuck.
That's one annoying. We'll do an Orville episode as well.
We sure will. I do love the Orville.
I'm watching it again. It's so nice to watch. Is it left?
Well, it's been gone for years.
I think they're making more. Okay, cool. I think. Obviously, COVID put a
gap
in that. But when they reference it, like, I like it when they reference things that haven't happened yet, like
future past event, like fake future stuff. I love that.
There's one episode in Next Generation where Troy is talking about like Shakespeare and also Blobby Blue from the 23rd century.
Yeah, that's cute. I like
classic things,
In like Strange New Worlds, they talk about war that's coming up with artificial intelligence and stuff. Obviously, it's a huge thing of their past. Like, what is this? I love shit like that. Where they're like, oh yeah,
Is that before or after Picard? Because they reference something in Picard.
Strange New World is way in the future, way in the past. So no, it's
But Strange New World is an offshoot of Discovery.
Yes, which is the original series. It's before the original series.
What's the one that is in the future then? In the far future?
Discovery travels to the future, but they are from original series, pre-original series time.
Right.
She's Spock's sister, which they forget about. She's Vulcan.
Who? A character.
Oh yeah, Discovery.
Okay.
You watched it?
No.
It's not good. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, more episodes?
I had one, but it's not actually season 4, so no.
No, we can't talk about it then, I'm afraid.
Do you want to talk about...
I mean, the standout episode of the whole thing...
Of the first 3 series, yeah.
Of the whole show...
Scorpion!
It is, and there was a listicle. It's not... I thought it was like one of the top-rated Star Trek episodes of all time. It's not. It's the top-rated Voyager episode. Episode 1. Scorpion, part 1. But at one point, I think it was during pandemic, it was one of Netflix, they released like the most rewatched episodes of Star Trek, and Scorpion part 1 and 2, and then The Gift are the top. It's the most. So it may be, the Locutus episode, I think, is the highest IMDb rating. Yeah. But the most rewatched of all Star Treks, at one point anyway. Yeah.
Scorpion.
It's fucking Scorpion. And it is so, and I remember, and we're going to, and I remember when pressing play and that first opening shot, which we're about to rewatch.
We're going to watch, yeah.
And we will go through it scene by scene.
Next episode.
In the next episode.
No. The same episode. We're just
2.
cutting it up. We're cutting it up into parts.
Next week. It'll take a while to edit it.
When do we first meet species 4679?
8472. In that.
848.
8472.
8675.
8472.
8675309. Never mind. The song from the 80s. From Earth's 80s, 1980s.
From Earth's 1980s.
Just a few episodes before, isn't it? They were introduced.
No, you don't see them until that episode.
Until Scorpion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen them. You see them again after.
Yes, I remember that.
Separate from Borg. But yeah, no. This is the first time.
Because it's such a... Should we talk briefly about Scorpion then? Or should we just wait until... Well, no, we're going to intro Scorpion. We're going to intro... Okay, we'll talk about Scorpion in the next part of this episode. Whatever.
So, the reason it's a standout episode is because we are going to watch... Because it is my favorite episode, I think, of any Star Trek ever.
And this is now where you are in your rewatch, isn't it?
Yes.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't rewatched it yet.
So this is your first rewatch?
Yeah, in a long time.
And I watched it for the first time a few years ago, so it'll be an interesting rewatch.
Yeah. I remember.
Let's do it.
Again, let's talk about that. Any others? Because it's a tough act to follow.
No. I was going to mention a few others, but like the
let's finish with that because
let's finish with that one.
Continue in the next episode to hear us lose our fucking minds over Scorpion Part 1.
Please,
Part 2. Please
tune in. If you're waiting for that episode to come out, and you can think of anything from the first 3 series of Star Trek Voyager that you would like us to talk about or mention, write in. We'd love to hear from you. We are in our email address is incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think, if we missed anything, if there's anything else you want us to talk about in general even. You can contact us on TikTok or Instagram as well. Also give us a follow and like our stuff. Our handles there are @incompletegeeks.
I love doing the rewatches. We've only done one and I'm really excited to do these. I don't know if they work. Please tell us if you like the format. Yeah. I know a lot of people do them differently. We're just going to do this and enjoy it and watch and comment as much as possible. Yeah. I would also love to do like a TikTok or Instagram live rewatch. I don't know how that would work. Maybe on a Twitch or something like that. But if that's something you want to do, like a hangout or talk about things.
If you have an idea how we can do it.
Message us. Let us know. Yeah. We would love to know about that sort of thing.
Yeah, because we love doing it. We don't know how to do it because as much as we'd like to think we are, we're not complete geeks.
But we are working on it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See you next time.
Oh, I'm so close to finishing. That sounds awful.
Well done.
Oh, let's put that in the outtakes.